There's a great quote in the story. Getting rich off the failure and sticking someone else with the bill is indefensible. That's Mr. Perry. That's Rick Perry saying that about Mitt Romney. Tell us what's going on here.
Yes, it's actually quite bizarre. I mean, the Republican primary is turning into a debate on the ethics of capitalism. I mean, these are attacks that were originally coming from the DNC, from the Obama campaign, and now as we are running out of time in the primary process, you are seeing Rick Perry, Newt Gingrich, even John Huntsman sort of lobbing these attacks toward Mitt Romney.
It is interesting, but it also gets to that wider issue of sort of bailouts, which both parties were involved in, getting rich off failure and then sticking someone else with a bill. It happened with the bankers. It happened with, you know, with some companies that needed bailing out, and now it's coming up to haunt one guy when there were many people in government that were involved in sort of similar sort of sticking somebody else with the bill type of thing. Has that aspect come up yet?
I mean, that depends on who you talk to. I mean, Mitt Romney, they're defending themselves. Look, we are practicing, you know, capitalism. This is what private equity does. Club for Growth, even some conservative pundits, they've sort of come out and said, look, you guys should not be attacking a candidate for making money. But what you are seeing is, yes, these other candidates playing on the sort of populist idea that, you know, this is the type of thing that caused your relative to lose your job or something. Sort of these corporate, they describe them as corporate raiders who come in and sort of loot a company, and that is the word they use, looting.
Rooting. Now, one of the things I know they do from my business background is that they lever up with a lot of debt. They borrow a lot of money, and that forces the management to cut costs in every way they can just to stay in business. It's typically called a leverage buyout or a management buyout, and that sort of thing became very popular under KKR. If you remember back that far, this is the way this goes, and it's seen as a legitimate thing. Why has it suddenly become illegitimate? People have been losing jobs in this country for decades. Why are they focusing in on Mitt Romney?
Well, I mean, for one, we are now the day of the New Hampshire primary, and Mitt Romney, even by a small margin, has won Iowa, is likely to win New Hampshire tonight, and is looking, you know, pretty solid in South Carolina and Florida at the moment. So, I mean, you could make the case that we are out of time, and the kitchen sink starts coming out.
Everything's coming out. All the knives start coming out. All the projectiles are coming out of the kitchen. So stay with us, Danny. I want to take a quick look at a Democratic National Committee ad attacking Mitt Romney. You'll love this.
We helped create over 100,000 new jobs.
We added over 100,000 jobs. 100,000 jobs.
There have been questions about that calculation of the 100,000 jobs. So if you could explain a little more. I've read some analysts who look at it and say that you're counting the jobs that were created but not counting the jobs that were taken away. Is that accurate?
I'm a good enough numbers guy to make sure I got both sides of that.
The tally does not include losses from other companies with which Bain Capital was involved.
That was great piano playing there in that DNC ad attacking Mitt Romney. Back to Danny. Now, it's a very entertaining ad. Is it working for the DNC? Is it undermining Mitt Romney in any way?
I mean, we've been out in the road with, you know, Mitt Romney supporters a lot, and his poll numbers don't appear to be taking a hit yet. And, you know, you talk to people in crowds, they have no issues with this. I mean, that sort of seems to be the only metric you have. But this could play a bigger role in the general election. There's a lot of people, especially Democrats, you know, you assume Mitt Romney is going to be the nominee. And, you know, if Americans are still sort of feeling this angst about the economy and this sort of this talk of populism is still out there, I mean, they're sort of defining Mitt Romney now as this man associated with corporate America that they say is responsible for a lot of these job losses.
Now, I want to cast my mind back, our minds back and date myself a bit to a movie starring Danny DeVito called Other People's Money, where he's the corporate raider and he helps restructure the company, which was gonna die anyway. What happened to that idea of sometimes a company is just dead and you need someone to come in and cut the fat and really rejuvenate it? And maybe that's what Mitt Romney was involved in. Is he coming out telling that story that, you know, like with the rose bushes, sometimes they need cutting back?
Yes, exactly. I mean, he could probably say that more explicitly sometimes, but he is coming out and saying, look, this is how free enterprise works. Some businesses succeed, some fail. We tried our best. We went after companies, you know, that weren't doing so great in the first place. And in some cases, there were successes. They point to Staples or other businesses. And actually, you know, Mitt Romney, now the rhetoric he is using is yesterday in front of a bunch of reporters, he said, look, my opponents, my Republican opponents, are turning this GOP primary into a trial on free enterprise.
They do seem to be, don't they? Stay with us, Danny. We got another anti-Mitt Romney thing. He seems to be really taking it on the chin. Good chin to take it on, though. This is from Newt Gingrich. Listen to this.
Romney's economic plan? Timid. Parts of it virtually identical to Obama's failed policy. Timid won't create jobs, and timid certainly won't defeat Barack Obama. Newt Gingrich's bold leadership balanced the budget, reformed welfare, helped create millions of new jobs. The Gingrich Jobs Plan, a powerful plan for growing our economy and creating jobs. Rebuilding the America we love with bold conservative leadership.
I'm Newt Gingrich, and I approve this message.
Yeah, and that was Newt Gingrich approving that message. Danny, back to you. How true is that? What Newt Gingrich is saying is Mitt Romney basically Obama in disguise when it comes to economics?
I mean, what he is arguing, and some other candidates are arguing, is that, you know, Mitt Romney did not tackle, you know, what to do about personal income tax rates or things like that in his economic plan. It's a 59-point economic plan, but people say it doesn't do enough to change the foundations of the economy. You know, Rick Santorum, for instance, is arguing that there should be heavy benefits for the manufacturing sector in the tax code. And Mitt Romney is saying, you know, we shouldn't be playing favorites like that. The line he started using yesterday is, look, if we do that, everyone, including newspapers, is going to start declaring themselves a manufacturer.
Yes, there is that central planning aspect creeping in there. Very surprising to me. Danny, thank you very much. Danny Yadron with the Wall Street Journal out in New Hampshire, and actually not freezing today, so because he's indoors. Thank you very much, Danny. We really appreciate you being with us.